different combinations of LP12s out there in the world based on all the components we've made over the years. So it's a pretty special piece of kit and it never stops evolving. So we're going to hear it today, obviously. Let me introduce you to the rest of the system though. So obviously we have the LP12 as one of the sources. The other source we're using is Select DSM. So we moved into streaming, we kind of put a lot of focus on streaming in the mid-2000s. Our CEO, Gilad Tiefenbrun, he's the son of the founder, Ivar. He came from a telecommunications background and he kind of knew that one day we'd be using this for pretty much everything. And we put a lot of our emphasis on digital streaming. We stopped making CD players in 2009. 2007 is when we released our first digital streamer, and we got a lot of pelters in 2009 for ceasing production of CD12, for example, which best CD player in the world, many would say. But we knew that there was going to be a point, and at that point already we'd proven that you could get a better sound from a high quality digital download than you could from a CD. Nothing against CDs, I've got thousands of them at home and I'll never part with them, but it was all about delivering more detail in the music, and at this point, many years later, nearly 20 years later, streaming is a huge part of our offering. This is our mid-range. So at Linn we have got 3 ranges. Magic is our entry-level big performance range for people that really kind of want to take their entry to hi-fi to a new level. Select in the mid-range is our most configurable modular range, and right at the top is Climax level. So Climax level is our flagship stuff. So we've got a really cool kind of mid-range system here for you today. We've got a Select level LP12. So this is our streamer and preamp. Thing about Select is it's totally modular like the turntable. First of all, you choose the chassis that you want, which is either folded aluminum, like we have here, in black and silver. We also do a kind of premium chassis from machined aluminum that we machine in our factory. You then configure it for what you want it to do. So inside this, there is room for these 3 kind of cartridges that are probably not a bit shallower than that height. And these cartridges can be integrated amplification, it can be a line-out cartridge, it can be a 5.1 surround sound module. So once you configure it for what you want it to do, you then choose your level of DAC. And at Linn we've got 3 levels of DAC: standard, catalyst in the mid-range, and organic. Organic's the first DAC that we ever made, homegrown, completely from the ground up. So you can see how much goes into these products. What we have here is a pretty special edition though, because we're not just running these speakers passively, we're going further than that, and I'll tell you about that later. The speaker itself is called 150. This came out about a year and a half ago. A brilliant passive 3-way speaker. We do a bookshelf version of this called 119. I've got this at home in this walnut colour. I love this speaker and I'm probably never going to buy another speaker again in my life. We have done something pretty special with this though, so we're not running a classically passive system, but let's listen to some music and I'll go into it later on. So I'm going to stick with streaming before we play some vinyl, and I'm going to play something you probably all know quite well. At a Linn event, you're unlikely to hear Dire Straits, London Grammar. Nothing wrong with these artists, great bands, but we tend to play music that we really like, and probably more likely stuff that people listen to at home. Like I don't know who's listening to a 57-minute drum solo, which sounds great at a trade show, but maybe not in a den room. So I'm going to play Tears for Fears, Head Over Heels, brilliant pop song, sounds really big, the piano on this system. So, and after that, I'm going to tell you about where we came from, and then we're going to listen to something. Alright?